Hi, folks. Thanks for choosing to listen to this episode. I just want to let you know before we get into it that I've done an overhaul on Patreon. So if you want to get early access to episodes, bonus episodes, and much more, head over there and sign up. Next week's episodes are already there waiting to be listened to. Okay, that's enough from me, so enjoy this episode. Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, concerts that made us, interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down, the greatest live shows and that cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concerts that made us.com.
Hi, this is Tom from Tulipomania, and you're listening to Concerts That Made Us.
Future's calling, a falling star. Well, that explains it, okay, so far. Don't be crazy if that's still a thing. Too close to see it and not to sing. Baby, you had to be there. 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 It's so legit, but it's all for naught. When it exploded, we all got caught. One thing's for certain, they always lie. So don't believe me, he's a real nice guy. Baby, you had to be there. Baby, you had to be there. Baby, you had to be there. You had to be there. Maybe it matters if we say it does. Think it's foolish, but the rain still comes. Maybe a fever. Say it again. You're the problem if you don't say when. You had to be there. Baby, you had to be there. Baby, you had to be there. Baby, you had to be there. Future's calling, a falling star. Well, that explains it, okay, so far. Don't be crazy if that's still a thing. Too close to see it and not to sing. Maybe you had to be there. Baby, you had to be there. You had to be there. Baby, you had to be there.
Tom, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Nice to talk to you, Brian.
It's great now. I'm really looking forward to diving into your music over the next bit. Now, first off, Tulipomania recently released your sixth album, Absolution. The inspiration behind this one is pretty interesting. Can you take us deeper into it?
Yeah, we released an album last year of music that was inspiring to Jeff VanderMeer, a writer, and he was working on a new part of a series of novels. He has a trilogy called the Southern Reach trilogy, and he was working on a new fourth edition uh, sort of prequel to this. And he was heavily influenced by our music. And he wrote the liner notes for our current album. And the album that he had been influenced by was called "Dreaming of Sleep" by us from last year. So he reached out to us and we talked a lot. And he sent us advanced copies of his latest novel, Absolution, while it was still being written. And we wrote four new songs in response to his new novel, which was partially influenced by our last album.
What does that kind of do to your creativity? I imagine there's like massive boundaries and limits. You can't go where you normally would.
It's funny. I didn't feel any sort of limitation. There's I think a kinship in subject matter. A sort of like stressful. I never really felt any new limitations. It was more just fascinating and interesting that someone else was influenced by our work, and then wanted to share their draft and near final versions of their work with us. I never felt any real limitation.
The novels, they've sold millions. A movie has been made. They're a national treasure at this stage. And you were entrusted with early versions of the newest one. That must have been both special but a bit nerve-wracking, was it?
I don't know. Like we never really felt stressed by it. We were really excited by it more than stressed. I think that we were fans and enjoyed reading sort of near final versions and like second to last drafts, that sort of thing. No, we just felt really lucky. We never felt in any way stressed.
Gotcha. I gotcha. You also released an animated video for the track I've Been Told. Can you talk us through the production, the creativity, the concept behind it?
Sure, we've been making animations for about Cheryl and I for about as long as we've been making music. Sort of similar trajectory. We met studying filmmaking and animation, and we've been making music and films for many years. And we're interested in the combination of animated, three-dimensional and two-dimensional, handmade objects and drawings, and the synchronization with the subject matter and the rhythm of the movies. So we've been really interested in this and the music. We've been interested in this as long as I can remember. So when we had the chance to write one of the first new songs, we made four new songs and remixed the other 10 from Dreaming of Sleep. And I've been told is the first release of a new song written since being influenced by Jeff VanderMeer's new novel. And we just tried to include imagery that reminded us of the mood of that novel.
I like it. I like it. Your music videos, they're very often featured in film festivals worldwide. Will we see this one in any festivals?
That's a good question. We'll certainly submit it. That's an unknown because we have no control over that part of it, but hopefully.
All right. Well, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. You mentioned going back and remixing tracks. How do you feel about that? Because you're going back and you're kind of changing your babies almost. Is it a hard process or do you enjoy it?
We really enjoyed it. I think that I can imagine that it could be hard, but they were really recent tracks. They were from our currently released album at the time, and we just revisited them and added to them. Really tore them down to the basics and started again with mix ideas. And we did that with the 10 original tracks from Dreaming of Sleep, and then the new tracks we wanted to make sit together well with those. So we were working on the new tracks at the same time we were reworking the original 10 tracks. So it felt like one big project more than just reworking.
True. True. As well, you worked with renowned record executive Howard Thompson on the record. For listeners that aren't aware, he discovered the likes of Adam and the Ants, Motorhead, among many, many others. What kind of imprint do you think he left on the record?
We've been working with Howard since the earliest days of making music together. Cheryl and I met him like 20 years ago and plus, and we've been working with him. He's been very gracious with us and helpful to us for a very long time. He's worked on every record we've ever made. He's invaluable. He spends time listening to demos and drafts. He's just a terrific guy and spends tons of effort trying to help us. And sometimes points out things we hadn't seen in our own work, like know, themes that are running through multiple songs. He'll ask about you name it. He's just terrific.
Good to hear. It's good to hear. Long may it continue the collaboration with him anyway. And when it comes to track listing on the record, is there any tracks that you find you gravitate more towards?
We made music videos for the ones that we felt like just for whatever reason every time we listen through it because we've listened to it, as you can imagine, hundreds of times. And we're trying like we've made videos for three of the tracks from the Dreaming of Sleep, which we have which we have Absolution remixes for this current record. So three of those tracks have them, and one additional. So there's actually four videos that we've made for this. So those are kind of the tracks that we've gravitated towards. You Had to Be There. I've Been Told. Shines On, and Then and Only Then are tracks that we, when we were listening to them, thought they lended themselves most to making videos for. And we're working on a couple of additionals now.
I like it. I like it. Do you find that with the record that listeners, maybe it's too early to tell, but do you find listeners are using it as a companion to the book, or do you think your fans are fans of the book as well?
It's a good question. I think there's probably some of each. There's definitely new people who aren't traditionally fans of ours who Jeff has turned on to our work. And whether or not they're listening while they're reading, I can't say. A couple of critics have said that they thought it would be a good companion to listening to while you read the novel. And Jeff said he listened to the music extensively while he was writing it. So that's also a possibility that that's influencing his audience.
Way too early to tell, but can we expect more collaborations in the future?
I have no idea. I mean, we collaborate with people all the time. Like, we've been very lucky to work with people that we respect over the years and been able to work on projects with them. But I have no idea about working with Jeff further. Who knows?
True, true. The podcast is called Concerts That Made Us, so I have to ask you some concert related questions if you don't mind. First off, as a concert goer, what concerts would you say have made you?
It's interesting. I'm interested in a lot of smaller concerts, and I remember I've been to a few really large shows and festivals, and they never really worked for me. I really prefer like small rooms, not necessarily famous bands. Even I'm not a huge fan of large stadium sort of or large concert hall sort of performances.
More intimate.
Yeah, like it just and also like just something about the sound quality. Like I remember hearing things and playing at CBGB's and being thrilled with the sound quality.
Would you say there's a show you've went to that maybe fans of your music would be surprised to hear you're into?
That's a good question. I remember maybe there's a show that Cheryl and I went to many years ago when the Blue Nile were touring, and we were just it was just fabulous. They were a terrific live act. It was again not a really small theater, but a pretty small theater, and it just sounded and looked great, and they were just a terrific live act. And I have no idea whether or not our audience would think the Blue Nile was an unusual reference for us, but we both love that music.
Not too bad, not too bad. Your local music scene then, what is it like? Is there much bands battling for the limelight, would you say?
I don't know. We really don't participate in this sort of local battle for live shows. Our biggest connection with the sort of local Philadelphia music scene is the national magazine that's been published here for more than 25 years, like Magnet Music Magazine out of Philadelphia. And we're more connected with Magnet Magazine and that sort of music part of the music industry here in Philly than we are with like battling for shows. So we don't, I've enjoyed seeing a lot of shows, but I don't think there's really a battle going on here so much.
Right, right, I get you. And for any listeners that haven't been lucky enough to catch one of your shows, what are they like? Give us the full experience if you can.
Sure, it's really changing. Like for a while, we were a four-piece live band with drums and guitars, and the current album and the last album that we made, it was just Cheryl and I with all synthesizers. And there's really only guitar on one track, so we really don't know uh, what that sort of live performance is going to look like. It's just going to be the two of us, most likely. So it'll be very different than what it was before. It looked very much like a traditional rock band before, uh, but now it'll just be singing and keyboards and mostly that.
That's really interesting, actually. Well, obviously you don't, but did it ever enter your mind about alienating fans, changing it up so much?
No, I just never. We only follow the music. Like we weren't really trying to alienate or win people with a style particularly. We were just making the music that appealed to us.
I really like that, actually. Making yourself happy doing what you desire. Makes sense. And if you think of all the shows that you've played over your career, is there one that you would consider a high point? It sits above all the rest.
Yeah, it was probably playing. We played a Pennsylvania festival once. It was like it was very strange, and it was in a really weird built. Like it was a all Pennsylvania music festival, and it was in a country and western hall, and there was like sawdust on the floor, and the place was just not the right environment for us, and it didn't have any lighting, and it was still daylight out, and the show was just terrific, and the audience were thrilled, and it just didn't none of it seemed like it would work, and we even had some technical difficulties, but none of it mattered. It was funny how things just seem wrong when they start and work out great.
Yeah, I love when that happens. If we take that question and flip it around, maybe the early days, is there a gig you would consider the worst? Everything went wrong, and how did you deal with it?
There's been several, but yeah, yeah, there was there just yeah there was one many years ago at a club I forget the name of in Philadelphia where we went on really late, like I don't know 1:30 in the morning after all these other bands had played, and everyone was just drunk, and the audience was dreadful, and there was no winning. There was no, I mean, just surviving it was all there was. That's the worst one I ever remember.
Yeah, sounds tough. That sounds tough. When it comes to showtime, then what's your pre-show and your post-show? How do you like to psych yourself up, and then afterwards, how do you like to wind down?
That's funny. Like for pre-show, I treat it like it's a got to go to the dentist or something. I try not to think about it at all.
Right.
Like not at all. Like just it's just like it's a surprise when it starts. And then at the end we try to go to other people's shows and just listen to other people play music. Sometimes at the same event or like or just try not to make it just about us.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. Is there a point in your career when you look back that you can pinpoint and say that was the moment that made you feel like all the hard work was worth it? That it's starting to pay off.
It's funny. I don't. I guess we were always sort of self-motivated, so we never really worried about that. We were interested in just making the music, and being able to finish it was a kind of success. So we really didn't have a moment when we felt like it paid off. Like we were just happy doing it, or satisfied doing it. I would say really more than happy.
I like it. I like that outlook. Nice. And before we dive into the final few questions, future plans set in stone. What's next for you guys?
At the moment, we're trying to finish two more. We make all our own animated music videos, and we're trying to finish two more for songs from this album. And then we're hoping to tour and play some songs from this series. Even though we have, like I said before, we don't know what this is going to look like with just two of us, like because we haven't done it yet. But we're hoping to play some shows starting in like April. So that's kind of where we're at.
How far afield are you planning on going? Will it be local? Will it be?
It'll probably be the East Coast and maybe a couple of other cities. I don't know if that it'll be anything in Europe at all, but who knows?
Well, fingers crossed. Hopefully, you'll get over here at some stage, maybe next year, or the year after.
We would love to do that.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. We'll dive into the final few questions. So there are a couple of fun random ones. First off, besides music and filmmaking, what are you currently obsessed with?
Actually, I repair musical instruments as a hobby, so that would be what I'm currently and have many years been obsessed with.
As a hobby? That sounds
Yeah,
very stressful to be a hobby.
no, I enjoy fixing broken things, so I've often, I find it enjoyable and not and like not stressful. It's not sort of, if you can fix something that's broken and make it work again, that's just very satisfying.
True, true. The next one, it's a very strange question. If you had to spend 24 hours locked in a room with any musician from history, who would it be?
I don't think they'd enjoy it very much, but, but I think Sean and I both really love Rustin Man, who was in Talk Talk and has made so many great records on his own. Uh, I think I would just love to talk to him and potentially try to make music, but he's fabulous.
Good choice. Good choice. Be a good 24 hours. And the final one. What's your go-to album? An album you constantly revisit?
There are Talking Heads, Remain in Light.
I like it. I like it. Good choice. Quick response as well. So, listen, Tom, this has been an absolute blast now. Thanks a million.
Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate it.
I'd like to blend you, the past behind you, our fate is surely tied to this place. You like the slow march, hear the drum parts, my mind is racing, can't slow it down. Oh, I've been told, yes I've been told, I've been told to warn you. All about it now, see the other how. Nothing you can say can scare me. A cautionary tale, mouth is on a snail, and hard truth comes from caustic dreams. Oh, I've been told, yes I've been told, I've been told to warn you. Oh, told, I've been told to warn you.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're interested in signing up to Band Builder Academy, use the link in the show notes below and enter the code CONCERTS and you'll receive 10% off. So, until next time, keep rocking. Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show is over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here. Bye.